Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jareno Saunders with your JCN Evening News. Thanks for joining us. In recent weeks, during press briefings at the Office of the Prime Minister, media has repeatedly asked Press Secretary Clint Watson if the government could provide a breakdown of the cost to host the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge during the royal visit in March. We finally have an idea of what the costs look like. According to a preliminary financial expenditure statement released by the government, $636,194 was spent for the ceremonial events that showcased the hospitality, culture, and talents of the Bahamian people. The payments were managed by the Office of the Governor General in consultation with the Secretariat. The report said, as of Monday, May 16th, approximately 90% of the payments were made to more than 100 individuals and businesses here in the Bahamas, in New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Abaco, where they processed those payments, with just over $11,000 still to be completed. Among the larger payments were approximately $34,000 to Atlantis, $76,000 to Wildflowers, approximately $66,000 to Movie Company, $35,000 to Bahama Prince, and exactly $21,000 to the JCNP, $37,000 to Bahamas Air, and approximately $29,000 to ZNS. The Bahamas was one of 3 Caribbean countries that included Belize, Jamaica, that were invited to host the Duke and Duchess on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen on the occasion of her Platinum Jubilee. The report says the local planning committee sought to seize the opportunity to highlight and bring focus to the issues of climate change and the Bahamas' response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The report states the overarching goal was achieved. It is still a wait and see whether the government will consider lifting the mask mandate as COVID cases in the country see an upward trend. In April, Prime Minister Philip Davis hinted at having the mask mandate lifted by summer. On Tuesday, before the weekly cabinet meeting, reporters questioned Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Darville on whether it is still a plan to have those masks lifted or the mandate lifted by summer.
Well, we are always hopeful. The situation is very fluid. We are in a relatively good position despite the numbers going up. And we will keep watching what's happening internationally and our tourism sector and the amount of cases that's coming in that are travel related before any final decision would be made.
In recent weeks, COVID numbers in the country have been steadily increasing, with 63 COVID infections confirmed on Saturday. Health officials remain concerned. The health minister was asked if consideration is being given to possibly tightening restrictions.
Well, you know, we've been watching the cases rise. We are concerned, always concerned when the cases go up. But one of the good things in the good report is that the cases in hospital are very low. Last week, the cases were about 11. This week, it's about 12. And that is across the board at Doctors Hospital, the Princess Margaret, and the Rand Memorial Hospital, and Sandlands Rehabilitation Center. That is good news for us, and our team are concerned about the numbers. But while that's happening, we have no plan to tighten any restrictions at this time.
With that said, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the latest dashboard on Wednesday indicated 32 new COVID cases, and all 32 here in New Providence, the capital. 8 of them have a history of travel. A further breakdown of the cases showed that 13 of the newly infected are males, 19 females. Active cases have increased to 448. However, hospitalizations have decreased to 7. All patients receiving treatment are moderately ill. No change in the COVID death. The toll there stands at 801, with 25 deaths under investigation. Education, Technical and Vocational Training Minister Glenys Hannah Martin speaking up publicly with regards to last week's alleged altercation between a student and principal at the L.W. Young Junior High School. Minister Hannah Martin says, she gave an update on the incident to members of the media on Tuesday. She notes that much of the narrative around the incident has been grossly exaggerated by people with no knowledge of the situation. She adds the public ought to be mindful of spreading false narrative that could potentially be damaging to someone, particularly children.
There was an incident at L.W. Young. The principal has a view, who was there, of what happened. Her union representative, Mr. McPhee, who's the president, spoke to it. I've heard other people who were not there commenting on it, and so we have to be careful because there were so many exaggerated stories that came out of that, including stabbings and all this kind of thing, which did not happen. So, you know, certainly the ministry would have gotten a report and will respond appropriately. But from what I'm understanding from those who were there, the reports are completely exaggerated.
However, the education minister does note that there is issues facing school-aged children that she feels is a direct result of the isolation experienced during the global COVID-19 pandemic. She says there is evidence of an emotional toll being experienced in our youth today, and she says there are plans on the way to launch a special education task force to address this issue.
As it relates to the emotional aspect of it, we have not obtained any data. We are seeing some things, and we are speculating as to what those things mean. But based on what we are seeing internationally, is that there is this science-based or empirically based data that children are being affected emotionally. We don't believe Bahamian children would be any different because they've been denied and they've been isolated for very extended periods in terms of the socialization. So we are, this week in fact, going to meet with some technical stakeholders to look at the situation, to try and understand exactly what might have happened here and what will our responses be.
The purpose of the task force, according to Minister Hannah Martin, is to collect empirical data to ensure the government is able to enact a measured approach to combat both learning loss and emotional as well as psychological aspects of the impact of the pandemic. We'll take a break here and we'll be right back after these commercials.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Silhouette Boutique Collection.